What's going on, Dropkick? How you feeling on this Saturday?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just hanging out. Can't wait for tonight. We got Class on the show tonight.
Oh yeah. We've been trying to get him on the on an episode for a while now, man. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah, he should be calling any minute now, man. Come in.
What's that crap you were talking?
Dude, I didn't mean it. Dude, I didn't mean it. Ah! 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 I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Ah! 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 All right.
This is my podcast now.
Okay.
Dudes making noise, talking about pro wrestling on the podcast. Big up boys, big loony guys. We be throwing down the rhymes, keeping it live, representing the Lone Star State every damn time. We got Stone Cold Stunners and the Rocks peoples.
Whoa! What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Ring Rundown. What's up, SP Big Dog?
What's going on, Dropkick Zombie? Yeah, man. Today's a good day. We got a special guest in the house. We got the member Claas LSP. Everybody, throw your L's up. Also, 1/3 of the infamous underground group, Underground Avengers.
He's the realest. Killer if he has to.
How you hanging in there today, brother?
I'm good, man. Just, chilling on a Saturday. Kicking it with you guys right now.
And all that wonderful.
We're just trying to keep up out of this heat.
Yeah, definitely.
That good old Texas heat. Gotta love it. But yeah, so
to our viewers who aren't familiar with the man Claas himself, man, give us a little intro about yourself, man. We see you got your new album you're working on, as well as the the last Underground Avengers album, isn't it?
Yeah. This will be the end of it. So this is the final UGA album. I do got a new solo album in the works. Like you said, represent LSP out of Denver. Been doing music for years on Spotify, all that stuff. Was still, doing it when CDs were a thing. Right outside of tapes. I missed the whole tape era. I'm fully CDs. But yeah, man, just doing music and enjoying life.
Yeah, man. Also, we got a Got J veteran on our hand. You've done Gathering the Juggalos quite a few times in your life, haven't you?
Yeah, I played there 10 times. I played essentially every stage they have, from the early afternoon stages to the main stage to the late evening stages, and headlining the later evening stages as well. So yeah, I've done it all out there.
Yeah. What was your very first gathering you ever went to or
The very
performed
first
at?
gathering I ever went to was the very first one they ever had.
Really, Novi days,
Yeah.
huh?
No, I went to 20 of them straight. I went to the first 20 in a row.
I think the only other person who has done that I know of who's been to all is good old the homie Scotty D from Fago Lovers.
Yeah, me and him have run. Yeah, I mean, he's still going. I haven't been in a few years just because of other, life obligations and stuff. But yeah, I mean, for the first 20, yeah, we ran those things, every year.
So you were going even when it was probably when they were doing it in convention centers, kind of more of a convention format than actual camping.
I did the convention centers. I was there in Peoria when the SWAT team came out and shot tear gas and all the crazy convention ones, and before it even got wilder in the woods.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite gathering location or a memory that you could recall?
Cave in Rock was probably my favorite location, and my favorite overall was probably 2010, because that's actually when I got to play the main stage, which was a cool experience.
Nice, man, nice. Yeah, I think I caught the last, 11, 12, and 13 at Cave in Rock, and then I was there in 14 at Legend Valley, where they've been having it the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, Legend Valley's a dope spot too. The Oklahoma one was kind of rough because of the heat and the dust. Then I think they had one at a random place in Indiana also, if I remember right.
Yeah,
But
I believe so.
I think Legend Valley and Cave in Rock have been the two best places.
That's my favorite video, and I have a few questions about it. Villains. That's my favorite song by y'all ever. That's my favorite video ever. How was that? That was a genius video. Where was that shot at?
It was actually shot in a warehouse. Well, I mean, the whole thing was shot in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. The main portion of it was a warehouse that during the summer has a flea market, so they have nothing going on in the winter, so we were able to rent it out and shoot the video out there. Everything else in that video is roughly in the same area, the neighborhood, the convenience store. But yeah, all of it was shot in Louisville, Kentucky.
Bro, I cannot tell you how many times I listened to that song on repeat, riding around in my Dodge Challenger, and how many times I watched that video over and over while we were sitting working at the U-Haul over by SP's house. I don't know why. I love that damn song so much.
It's a dope one. If you ever noticed in that video, the smoke coming out of our mouths at times is legitimate. It was like 22 degrees in Louisville when we shot that video that day. There was ice all over the road. Like it was crazy shooting that video because of how cold it was in general, and then even colder trying to shoot inside of a warehouse during that time.
Yeah, Anomaly 88 was my favorite album from Underground Event. I fell in love with that album. I'm talking Yeti Cup, Bring the Blood, all of that. That was my introduction to y'all, and I had that sucker on repeat in my disc changer for a very long time. So big up to y'all on that one. That was an amazing album. Amazing album.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So can you give us a little bit more insight onto the whole? So when what was it? Your first album came out. Obviously, there was a mock-up of you, Buckshot, Boondocks as the Avengers. Obviously, Boondocks was Iron Man, Buckshot was Hulk, and you were, Captain America-esque style. What was it like getting that little letter in the mail from Disney? How did that come about?
Oh, so that happened?
Oh yeah, it's a real story.
Oh yeah.
We really did catch a cease and desist. To us, it was actually pretty fantastic when you think about it overall.
That's got to be dope.
That means that what we were doing was making enough noise to get on Marvel's radar to a point to where they fitted, they drafted up the letter and sent it to us, essentially telling us to stop using
their likeness and images.
Likeness and images. So then we changed up the cover after that to be a little bit different, but then it made it special also for everybody that had that original cover, because then that became a little bit rarer because of the whole thing with them. But yeah, it was a full-blown letter just telling us that they'll seek legal action if we don't take down likeness and images and blah blah blah, and is what it is.
I know Disney can be just as bad as Nintendo when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I don't even know if when the first Avenger movie came out, were they attached to Disney at that point?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they were.
They were. So that would have been even crazier to for them to come after us. But
yeah, it was Joss Whedon of Buffy fame and everything like that directed I believe the first two Avengers films. But yeah, that I don't think Disney acquired Marvel until just shortly after Age of Ultron.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're right, but so it was, like I said, it was crazy to have them do that, and there's a point where they're in the back of your brain you're like, oh shit, like I don't really need to get sued by these these people, like I don't they would have never got money from us. By all means you could sue out the ass. It doesn't mean I can afford to pay whatever you're asking. So
right.
Whatever. But overall it was pretty funny to us, just because it's like, clearly
making a splash.
Yeah, we had made enough noise at that moment to get them to formally send that to us.
So I've heard, so asking about the title, Anomaly 88, I've heard Buckshot in interviews talk about it the 88 part. Not trying to bring up the back. I heard people make accusations about it. You know that one idiot, but we're not going to talk about that guy. That whole thing. He said that the 88 came from adding up different things in the album, and it all equaled out to 88. Do you have any more? He kind of gave a vague answer about it. Like
No.
it was a scientific mathematical thing that was in the lyrics of the song, and I was wondering, is there any way you can kind of, I don't know if that's your forte or maybe it was just his brainchild. Do you have any more light to kind of shine? I couldn't wrap my head around it.
It was his brainchild. However, we all agreed that no matter what, we wouldn't talk about it. It's just the 88. It doesn't have anything to do with anything but the album. It technically has to do with where all three of us are from, as well as a couple of things in the album. But yeah, that's how we came up with the 88. I mean, I don't know why people would, get so weird about it. I mean, hell, I'm in Dallas. I could say the 88 is for Michael Irvin and nobody would give a shit. You know what I mean?
We're trying to bring up that stupidity, but I just always want to know what things did he add up to equal out to that. But hey, if y'all sworn to secrecy, man, keep people wondering. Yeah. That makes it even that much better.
Sworn to secrecy, just like everybody that wants to know what's in the briefcases in the videos we shot. You'll never know. It'll always be a mystery.
I don't know if we want to know, man. It might be some hands and body parts.
There you go. Yeah, something weird. Definitely.
I mean, you're the one who said you're the real serial killer if you have to. So
essentially, just let everybody's imagination run wild with
Sleeping Dogs Lie.
What it could be.
Yeah. But yeah, awesome album. I love it so much. So, anything else you want to get out to Class SP? Anything else before we move on?
Yeah, just curious. This last Underground Avengers, is it going to be put out underneath M&E, or is it just going to be?
Question. No, it came out on Mob. It came out on Mob Style. So the last few have come out on Mob. So the very first one was a collaboration between Mob Style and R2 here, which is the homie Ronnie Blaze, that I used to do music with out here. Then the second one, Anomaly, actually came out on Magic. So shout out to Twisted and George and everybody over at Magic for that. And
some good dudes over there.
And then Dark Matter, The Gateway, and Oblivion are all through Mob Style Music. Which is Buckshot's label out in Louisville, Kentucky.
So the last album that y'all are releasing is the next album, right? From the Underground Avengers, correct?
Yeah, it's the one that just came out.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. Did it have any themes or anything to it? Kind of like, with Anomaly 88, the Avengers, or...
It's the same theme. Like so for anybody that doesn't know essentially about Underground Avengers, I'll give you the whole lore. So essentially... the entire album is a movie with a soundtrack all combined. So all of the skits from Anomaly to Dark Matter to The Gateway to Oblivion, and even a skit that we put on a re-released version of the very first album that we call the Apollyon Edition. All of those have skits on them that basically tell a story like a movie. About us coming to Earth and us coming to Earth to essentially protect Earth from a bigger being that is coming to take Earth and destroy it. And this album is where everything comes to a climax, where the bigger being is now here, and essentially we have to fight that being to protect Earth, and then all this. So if you listen to everything from start to finish, you'll hear how the skits
kind of line up,
how it goes, how the story goes from start to finish. It's a really good story in my opinion. We wanted to do it. We wanted to do it like a movie. Like we wanted to do it because there's no one that's ever done this. Like we literally did everything to make it a full-blown movie over 5 CDs. And then even so much so that on this new album there's a track called Collision which is legitimately a 2-minute fight scene on a CD of us fighting the bigger boss. So it's real. I mean, like we went as far as to like legitimately record a fight scene and everything for the climax of this album. And so that's what we wanted to do from the beginning. We wanted to make it something bigger than just music. Like we wanted to make it to where in the pre-orders, we dropped a version of the CD that people could get that was 2 discs. One of them was the new album, and the second disc is literally every single skit lined up from start to finish. So you could literally just listen to the story also.
I'm
definitely
checking that out.
I was gonna ask that. Yeah, I was gonna ask that question if you're gonna do a deluxe version where you just had all the skits just running back to back to kind of give the full detail.
Yeah.
But
So let me get this straight. So the skits for Anomaly 80 were only on the Apollyon edition, because that's not the edition I had. I had the regular release.
No. Okay, so if you go to Spotify, go to Underground Avengers, the very first album release was just a self-titled album, called Underground Avengers. We re-released that album after we did Anomaly 88 and kind of moved it to the forefront of the story. And at the very end of that CD, there's a skit that essentially starts the story. And then every skit in Anomaly is a continuation of that start, and then it goes into Dark Matter, and then after Dark Matter it goes into a CD called The Gateway, and then after The Gateway is Oblivion. And so the story lines up in that order from Underground Avengers Apollyon edition all the way until this new one, Oblivion, that we just released.
Awesome. I'm definitely checking that out. I want to hear the whole story. It sounds awesome. That's epic, dude.
Yeah.
That's really epic for y'all to think like that and not just but actually have a story go with it. That is next level.
I mean, we went all out too, dude. It's like we got voice actors and like these really dope people that do these that play these characters. So like, yeah, I mean, it's been one of the most like entertaining and like in-depth things, like projects I've ever been a part of. And that's why, when people are like, why is this the final album? Essentially we tell them, I mean, it's the final because it's a story, like we've been telling a story, and,
stories have endings.
Yeah. Everybody knows Cody Rhodes, story has to end, it's gotta, finish the story. Like, and that's what this CD is us completing this movie on disc.
Awesome. And so your next album, your solo album, do you have a time frame of that, or is it already out? Or
no, right now I'm over halfway done with it, but no for surefire time frame right now. Probably, if I had to say anything, probably late fall, maybe sometime after October, maybe November, December, depending on when I get stuff back from the people that I have on it, and then the few tracks that I need to finish up myself, and then depending on our release schedule with LSP, because I know almost all of us are working on something. So, and I mean, just depends on when I can fit, this album into the release schedule and everything. But we're probably looking at late fall.
We're definitely, when it does come time, we're definitely covering on here and giving you a shout out for it.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right,
sure. So
y'all want to get to some of these topics, or I'm sorry. All right, so
all good. I was just.
Do you have anything? I'm not cutting you off, SP. You're the brains. You're the brains of the operation. Go.
Yeah, no. So I was just, just wanting to get a little bit more backstory. With Claas, what was your first exposure to the world of pro wrestling? Like, are we talking like 80s? With like the height of Hulkamania, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior. When did you come into the world of pro wrestling, being an avid viewer?
It's the early 80s, and like my earliest memories are actually WCW on TBS at the time. And I think the very first thing I ever caught was a Clash of Champions, and pretty sure it was Sting and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And I was just like, this is fantastic. I mean, I was like a kid. I mean, they were like, you know, probably 4 or 5. And my dad had turned it on. And I was just like, I was in. Like, I didn't know exactly what was going on, but I knew I was in, you know.
Yeah. Have you aside from obviously, you know, what you just mentioned earlier, Cody Rhodes finishing story, have you kept up with anything that's been going on lately ever since, you know, WrestleMania 40, where Cody Rhodes did finally capture the World Heavyweight Championship? Have you been keeping up and with what's been going on in AEW, WWE, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I keep up with WWE a little more than AEW.
Same here.
But yeah, I have been keeping up for the most part with stuff going on. I mean, if I don't get a chance to always watch it, but I mean that's what Twitter and TikTok and everything else is for. So I mean I can always catch up on the main things going on, you know, just via social media.
That's how 90% of people, like a good chunk of the WWE and AEW's audience, keep track is, you know, X and YouTube. I think they get more views on that than they do network TV now. That's in general, that's how a lot of people digest their content, is from social media. That's how I get most of mine.
Like I said, I mean, it's been a while since I've had a chance to just sit down and watch a SmackDown or Raw or AEW. For the most part, I go to TikTok and just pull up either streamers, or I'll go to like Instagram or something and find clips.
Yeah, that's most people. But moving on to our first topic, Mr. Donovan Dijakovic of NXT fame, Ring of Honor, ex-Ring of Honor champion. He's leaving the WWE. Do you have some tea to spill on this, Mr. SP?
Yeah, so apparently he was trying to get into some negotiation talks with WWE as far as renewing his contract. According to him, in this letter that he wrote, WWE never approached him in negotiating, and since that happened, they decided that they weren't going to renew his contract, and so he's like, all right. And in order to stick it to WWE, he was offering, since they're no longer going to be taking half of his cameo fees, he reduced his costs for doing a cameo down to $49 to kind of stick it to WWE. So that way, I think he summed it up as get ratioed that way.
Man, it's kind of a crying shame because this dude was an unsung talent, bro. He is. I don't know if you ever seen him wrestle, but I know right here in Texas, some of the indie dates he had, kind of mostly going with Keith Lee, taking on Keith Lee, some of the most fascinating big men, athletic, agile shit I've ever seen. Like, this dude was a good talker. He actually made you feel like, hey, he can fight. This dude can kick your head off. And I just don't see how WWE did not see the talent in him. And this happens a lot with, you know, wrestlers, and they rule in NXT, but when they get onto the main roster, they kind of get lost in the shuffle. And it's a crying shame how this happened, because this dude deserves so much better, and he's gonna get better. I promise you, this guy, he's not gonna be hurting for indie dates. I know a big company is gonna be out to get him. He's gonna land on his feet somewhere. So I mean, there's no doubt about that. This dude is gonna go and kick ass somewhere.
And for those that don't know, he also was, as I believe, T-Bar and the faction Retribution. That was,
which was a waste for him too.
A big waste for all involved. But they were at the height of the first year of COVID when they were terrorizing the performance center.
And we all know who was in charge of that, who made the decision on that freaking stale ass, lame ass faction. We all knew. Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
You know, the biggest thing about WWE, as opposed to, like, you know, I know AEW is going with the whole this is wrestling thing. I think the biggest thing with WWE is there's still an element of, like, character portrayal that has to attach to the audience along with the wrestling, and I just don't think he ever really got over with the main roster audience, whether it wasn't them pushing him enough or not. I just don't, he connected pretty decently with the NXT audience, but again, I mean, the NXT audience is the same audience every week for the most part.
Right.
When you're going city to city to different people, in all these, all these cities on their normal runs, if you're not connecting with those audiences, that gets around pretty quickly. Other people are going. It just doesn't. I just don't feel like he was connecting at all. Not to say he's not a great wrestler. I mean, the dude has an amazing indie run, but I just think when it comes to like the WWE side of things and how the entertainment aspect, it just wasn't working out for him as far as that.
So I would definitely think he would fit a lot better in the work rate, promotion like AEW. I think that's where he could shine. And I think, because we all know, like, the AEW fans, they like the in-ring work. And I think that's where Dijak can definitely go and, make a splash, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
not even.
Go ahead. No, go.
Oh no, I was gonna say not. I mean, he doesn't even have to be AEW. It could even be like an MLW, or I mean, granted, TNA is still underneath the TKO umbrella. I mean, maybe they could sign him there. I mean, you got Dolph Ziggler's there, Mustafa Ali, Ash by Elegance. I mean, all these other former WWE stars who are now kind of thriving underneath the TNA umbrella. I mean, it's possible TNA could pick him up and sign him there, but then you still have. He would do
great in New Japan. I think he would go over great with the Japanese audience with his in-ring ability. Yeah. So, well, I just hate to see him gone, but hey, I don't think he's too upset about it. But
no, I did see his letter though. That was his letter, like a legitimate letter that he like handwrote. It looked like.
Yeah, that's shades of Cody Rhodes when he left.
Yeah.
WWE. But speaking of people leaving the WWE and going to said AEW, you remember the talks of Shane McMahon going to AEW? Which I don't think is going to happen in a million years, but essentially Tony Khan has released a statement and pretty much just said he would be open arms to Shane. So do you have anything about this, SP? Any further developments on Shane to AEW?
Nothing other than that. Just what we covered last week and this week is just that, Tony, is just pretty much saying like Shane's more than welcome to come over. Would love to see what can make happen. I think it would be kind of interesting to see a McMahon, assisting in backstage, schematics or whatever, and an AEW locker room. I think it could make for some very interesting television in this kind of head-to-head that people are putting, AEW versus WWE. So,
and that'd be a good way to piss daddy and sister off also. That's for sure. But
what do you think, Claas? Do you think it could work?
I mean, I think it could. I mean, I don't feel like any McMahon is showing their face currently. I guess I don't know why Shane would want to. So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one for me. Like I don't see the point, I guess, but at the same time, it would be neat. I mean, it could be somebody that could help them, definitely, run the production side of that company a little bit better, because that dude has all the knowledge in the world. I mean, clearly.
Yeah, he definitely could, and like I said, it would definitely be very entertaining. The only thing is, Shane has a way of wanting to put himself over, as we discussed before, and that I don't know how that would work, in the AEW locker room. Because over there he doesn't have daddy to kind of make people do what he wants, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll be interested to see it. I think it'll definitely be an interesting storyline. I think it would definitely be very odd seeing him on a broadcast that's not with WWE. And hey, when pandemonium happens, I'm here for it. So hey, let's make it happen.
No. It'd be a good time.
All right, so switching gears onto female wrestling. We have a topic from last week. Women wrestling pioneers. We wanted to give y'all a couple of picks and wanted to pick your brain, Class, on who you think is a pioneer in the world of women's professional wrestling.
All right.
So, I have to go first. I think you definitely, going back, I would have to, I mean, Glow. She was in Glow, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. She wasn't this typical, she was a good looking lady. She wasn't this typical good looking lady, but she can actually was tough as nails and can handle, her in-ring ability. She was in WWE. And I don't think she gets enough recognition. I would have to go with Ivory.
I could see that. My pick, this is definitely a tough one, I think. I'm gonna have to take it back a little bit further. I'm gonna have to go with Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young. But if I had to choose, I'm gonna have to go with Fabulous Moolah.
That's way back. I don't think I've ever even seen them wrestling. So, yeah, you going way.
I mean, Mae Young got in the ring. I mean, she
did.
She got put through a table by the Dudley Boys
at like 80-something years old too.
Yeah, no shit.
So hey, you said pioneers, bro. And the pioneers were probably around when they were wrestling. So they are definitely pioneers.
Two pioneers.
Definitely. All right. What about you, Class? Do you have a pioneer of women's? Who do you think we owe a lot to for the state of women's wrestling today?
I'm gonna bring it back a lot more forward, and honestly say China, just due to some of the names that we have now, like Bianca and Jade, and these women that like these bigger, I guess quote unquote Amazon style
powerhouses.
Women, that are powerhouses that aren't looking, to be like all the other women wrestlers. They're looking to be, like standouts, like that, similar to the way that, China stood out, all those years. So I think, as whatever, went on with her after wrestling, everybody knows all the stories and all the craziness, whatever, but
she can't be denied.
I don't think she can be denied at all. I think she gave a lot of girls confidence in the fact that, hey, I can put on muscle too and still be feminine and still, be a great wrestler, and people respect me for that. I don't have to be like, all the other women and, smaller and petite. And, I think she led a charge there for some of these other ladies that are out now.
And I think,
definitely. I mean, she was your very, very first women to compete in the men's Royal Rumble match back in 1999.
Yeah.
Also to hold a male-dominated title in the Intercontinental title, and during that time as well too.
And she was one of the first women that I could actually believable. It was believable that she can get in there and whoop a man's ass. You know what I'm saying? It was very believable with how she presented herself. So yeah, that great pick. How could we forget old China? But yeah, and it's sad to see how her story ended. She should have been celebrated way more.
I think she needs her. She needs her own spot in the Hall of Fame, not to be associated with DX. She definitely needs her own spot in the Hall of Fame.
And then Triple H did address it. I don't know, but he did address it while she's not. And I don't think it's a good enough reason, because he said, what if my daughter goes and Googles a name? What is she going to see? But still, man, you have Sonny in there.
What if his daughter Googles her grandpa?
Good point. And then Sonny's in there. Sonny, she's in there. Like, wait, not I know you want me, Sonny, right?
Yeah,
she's in there, and she did the same thing. We can't say the P word on here, but everybody knows corn, like great food corn.
Yeah.
But
them
Sunny,
them only cans, you know.
Yeah, the prawn that she did.
but that's the same thing Sunny did, and Sunny's in there.
Yeah,
So there's no good reason that China's not in the Hall of Fame. Definitely a pioneer of women's wrestling in my book.
Agreed.
Definitely a BS issue that Hunter brought up. And I mean, that's why you also have parental locks on computers and stuff, you know. So
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Good parenting goes a long way. But switch it up gears once again. Women pioneers, great topic. Moving on. So, Bad Blood may be coming back. What's up with this, man? SP?
yeah, so there's not too much related to this one, but they do have a blank slate for a pay-per-view, I believe, in the month of October. And there is potential word has been floating around that they may be bringing back the Bad Blood pay-per-view name for their October pay-per-view.
That's a great month to do it.
Yeah.
So, what are some memories that you have of Bad Blood, SP? I'm drawing a blank. I'll be honest here.
I mean, Bad Blood haven't had a pay-per-view in years. Again, yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I couldn't even tell you the last Bad Blood pay-per-view I watched. I'm gonna have to go pull this up and see what I can find.
We ain't gonna do all that, but yeah, it's good to see us coming back. I liked when they bring these classic shows back. You know, the old names. Let's not bring back Taboo Tuesday though. God, that was god awful. But
what about Cyber Sunday?
No, leave that. Bad Blood could come back. Leave those two away. We're good on those. But yeah, sounds good to me.
I mean, you had a lot. You had New Year's Revolution. You had Armageddon. You had a lot. You had WWE in your WWF in your house. I believe didn't WWF have a in your house have a Bad Blood pay-per-view?
Yeah,
wasn't there like a Shawn Michaels Undertaker Hell in a Cell match in that pay-per-view?
Yes, there. Okay, that was Bad Blood. Okay, I do remember. Yeah.
I'm just pulling off the top of my head, but that's kind of just what sounds familiar.
So are they going to be going back to a monthly format? Because I know they only do PLEs like once every 3 months right now, correct? It's something like that, or
WWE? No, they're putting on PLEs.
It's not on a monthly. Really? I don't find it on a monthly basis. Okay. And I'm supposed to be the WWE guy.
I think it's like a month and a half right now. I don't think
Something.
it's a month.
Yeah. It's few and far in between than it was. It's not every month
maybe just a little over a month. I think Class. I think you're right. I think it's about a month and a half.
Because I know after the Royal Rumble, it was a long ass time before the WrestleMania, and they had one pay-per-view in between, which was the Hell in a Cell, and they were very spaced out apart.
Well,
yeah, because what's the next one coming up? What's next?
Money in the Bank. That's this month.
Yeah, Money in the Bank.
And that's at the end of January or July, right?
Yeah.
I believe it's in 2 weeks.
Okay, so then, and Clash of the Castle was at the very tail end of May, beginning of June.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, about a month and a half then.
So they are definitely more spaced out apart. But hey, I mean, that's good. It gives time for these storylines to build, so I'm cool with it. Those monthly things, it was always like you would see on a Monday night Raw. They'd be like, wait to the pay-per-view for everything. So we're getting to see, stuff play out, on regular TV and not just have to wait for buy the pay-per-view at the end of the month. So I'm good with it. And plus there's a lot of storylines I need to build here, with like Solo Sikoa and the new bloodline, my boy Jacob Fatu, the Wyatt Six and all that. We need more build up and we want to see a payoff, I don't think we're going to get it much at Money in the Bank, but maybe the next one,
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on, Bad Blood. I welcome it. Good name for the month of October. Spooky, Halloween, blood. There we go. WWE, Bad Blood. Bring it back. Now, moving along to other news. Jeff Jarrett in the Owen Hart Cup. So, some people are questioning this. Why are they upset about old Double J Jeff Jarrett being in the Owen Hart Cup?
I have no idea, man. Just these good old Twitter trolls just trying to throw some shade on good old Double J Jeff Jarrett. I mean, and you got to figure, like, if anybody should belong in the Owen Hart Cup, it's definitely Jeff Jarrett. I mean, they were a tag team for the longest time in WWE. And unfortunately, at 99, May's Over the Edge pay-per-view, unfortunately, is where Owen lost his life due to a stunt gone wrong. But it's great to see, AEW honoring, the legacy of Owen Hart by bringing in his wife, Dr. Martha Hart, and with the Owen Hart Foundation and stuff like that to bring a good positive spotlight onto Owen himself. Just a good opportunity to shine on how impactful Owen Hart and in fact all the Hart family itself in the world of professional wrestling.
Maybe we can give Teddy a chance and he can be in there. No, okay, bad idea. All right. I just thought.
I wonder if
Class.
it's just Jarrett's track record, because I mean, if I'm not mistaken, at the tail end of WCW, he had a decent amount of creative control, and then in TNA, I mean, obviously everybody knows, he ran a lot of TNA, and I just wonder if
what
I
happened?
just wonder if some
that's a
people wonder,
possibility.
Then the
him
whole
entering, more into AEW means that possibly Tony Khan's leaning on him a little bit, and I don't think it ever went really wrong when he had control, but it also didn't go exactly right every time.
Well, when he had control of WCW, it was already going down the crapper, big time, and he was trying to run this angle with he was now the leader of the NWO, and it just wasn't believable. It's like, dude, you're not Hulk. You're not. You're not Nash.
If you look at it, I can see why people would be weird about it, because there is this point at all times where he interjects himself and becomes a champion. You know what I mean? And so, as a avid fan, if I know that tends to be what happens with him, I'm probably also I don't really want that in AEW. Because they've got enough talent to not put a belt on him. But I mean, it could just be like you guys said, and just be the fact that him and Owen were so close.
Thing is, and then they could be Kurt Angle fans. I mean, because we know what happened with him and Kurt Angle, so that put a lot of bad taste in people's mouths too when it comes to Jeff Jarrett. So I mean, I know that's old news, but still, a lot of people still hate him for that till to this day.
I mean, do you not remember Max Caster's wrestler that he directed towards Jeff Jarrett when Jeff and Jay Lethal were trying to win the AEW tag titles? I mean, come on now. Max blatantly threw it in there for a reason. So
I mean, it's a very true thing. If you look at Jarrett's track record, at some point he always makes himself a title holder
and steals your woman too.
Yeah, I mean, so that would be why I would assume. I'm sure the casual fan doesn't care, but I would assume anybody that's a longtime fan and knows, Jarrett, that's the first thing they're thinking about is oh, well, he's going to win this tournament. He's put himself in it to win it, so he can try to take a title.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're doing that, because I mean, there were shades of it in the early NWA TNA days. It just seemed like he was constantly putting himself in the title picture to win it from whoever had the title at that time. So I could see, I get what you're saying.
Well, we'll just have to see. Time will tell. I hope he doesn't win. God, that would be so. I like Jeff Jarrett's okay, but no, I don't think that's a good spot for him. There's other talent there that are way more deserving, young, hungry up and comers. So,
Agreed.
Jarrett, take a back seat, buddy. All right, next up, getting into something juicy here. So, Jeff blames Matt.
Nope, vice versa.
Vice versa
Matt
blames Jeff for their AEW run, and I can understand it. What do you got to say about this, SP?
Yeah, so Matt Hardy did a live on his channel the other night, and the topic came up of their push in AEW, and Matt went on the record saying that he fully blames Jeff for his his outside the ring activities, aka his good old DUI that he got for ruining their push in AEW, and Matt's definitely one who's been responsible in trying to hold Jeff accountable. I mean, out of the two, I mean, we both know the backstory of the drugs and alcohol use between the two of them, and I believe Matt said it wasn't until he met Rebby and they had their first kid, King Maxwell, that gave him the kick in the ass he needed to turn his life around and get sober for his family.
When it comes to Jeff, bro, I don't know of anybody that has had more chances in the wrestling business than him, in more promotions than him. You know what I'm saying? He ruined that TNA pay-per-view when he was taking on Sting. I don't see how he got work after that.
That quick little 9-second match that they had.
One of the most embarrassing moments in TNA history. Then his whole run in WWE. Then, you think he's doing good in AEW. Then he gets popped, which was right when I was living in North Carolina. He got popped in Raleigh on the highway heading down to Charleston. He was driving to, he was driving to Jacksonville, Florida. He was going through Raleigh on his way down to Florida. What the hell was he doing driving that far, that messed up? You know what I'm saying? That's not thinking, bro, at all. Like, this dude gets so many chances, and I love his work. I love Jeff Hardy. But it's like, come on, man. Like, you need to get a hold of yourself or something, man. And I know addiction is a very hard thing. I've been through it. People have been through it. But I mean, come on, man. I mean, people are going to start tired of giving chances. And I think that's going to hurt because we want to see the Hardy Boys back together, reunited in WWE or even in TNA. But are these promotions ready to give him yet another chance? And I don't blame his brother for being upset about it. It's like, come on, I want you with me, bro, but you keep screwing up. And at time, it affects my career. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'd be quite annoyed with it too. So, but
I think that's the biggest thing about Jarrett. About Hardy. He's a fan favorite. No matter what he's done, every time he pops back up, the pop for him is so big.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
That's why these promotions keep bringing him in, because it's a consistent thing. Like, that guy, the love for him has never died down, but that can also be that man's downfall, is that, he doesn't feel like he has to change because people keep giving him chances, and every time he gets a chance, it's a big deal to everybody or whatever event he's going to. But yeah, at some point, somebody's got to interject and get him the legitimate help that man needs before, he's another dark side of the ring story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So, Class, can you kind of see it as us as fans kind of enabling him and his behavior? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fans. I think it's organizations. Possibly other wrestlers. I think there's a lot of people who are allowing him to be the way he is. I think there's clearly a mental health aspect to it all, that he needs real help with. No matter how many times people have, kicked him out of their organization or told him he needs to get help, or the times he's gone and got help, he just goes right back to the same formula, whether
he does good for a while, then he falls off again.
He falls off. Yeah. So I think there's a bigger issue, in a mental capacity with him that needs to be like really worked out, but you can't get that worked out if every time you get dropped by somebody, there's another company 2 weeks later that's like, hey, you can come wrestle for us.
And he is a huge draw, and I don't blame his brother for being upset with him. And he's not upset, but he does. Hey, he is the reason. What's a big telltale sign behind that is how he's not signed with AEW anymore. That's so crazy how Tony Khan didn't freeze his contract when he was out.
Yeah.
That kind of shows you that, Brad, Jeff, he signed, a 4-year deal? they had to only trust him enough to maybe it had to be less than 2 years that they signed him to. And then he should have had to he should still be in AEW because Tony Khan should have froze his contract when he was going through that stuff in the court system and he was doing his rehab. But no, he didn't.
The extension part to it, yeah.
Yeah, or extended it or add the extension part to make up for it. And he didn't. He was like, nah, just go ahead and go. That's a telltale sign, bro, that we're just like, just go. You know what I'm saying?
The guy will forever be one of the most innovative and, special wrestlers that we've seen over time. I mean, he's always been incredible, but,
put his body on the line anytime. That dude does some crazy shit.
There's real issues there, that, it might be too late to fix. I mean, the guy's pushing late 40s, early 50s.
Early 50s, I believe.
Kind of set in his ways that he can, like I said, if people are giving him chances every single time, then he's never going to feel like he has to change who he is, because of that. I mean, because he knows that, it might not have worked out here, but I can go, to MLW or GCW or to Japan or whatever. Somebody's going to call my number.
He will get work somewhere. The indies, if there's any small indies, they will pay him a hefty guarantee just to get.
And the arena will be full when they announce him.
Just to get, Jeff Hardy on that flyer. I promise you that. But hey, we'll just have to time it. So hopefully this guy can get a hold of his demons and they can work it out because they don't have too many more runs left. They're at the end of their careers. Yeah. And I do want to see them hold the tag team straps one more time, whether it be really I would rather see it in WWE just to kind of stamp off that career. But hopefully they can, he can get a hold of himself and really communicate to Triple H and them, hey, one last chance. Let us, come in, do our thing. Let us stamp off our careers here and boom, Hall of Fame, all that good stuff. But we'll just have to see if that's happened. Hopefully that's in the cards for the Hardy Boys. But if not, bring back broken Matt Hardy and just keep going with that. All right. Speaking of people getting loaded, this is our final topic here, correct? Or do we have anything else we want to talk about, SB?
We did want to discuss, since this is our last weekend in June, we did want to highlight one more LGBTQ wrestler, and we're going to leave that up to you, Claas, to if you have anybody in mind that you'd like to shine a spotlight on for Pride Month, man.
I don't know if you guys have said or not, but I think, to be honest, mine, a good one would be Nyla Rose. I mean, I know her wrestling body of work might not be the greatest, but I mean, she's always been a mainstay indie. She's fantastic on Twitter if no one follows her.
Oh yeah.
Really, really positive, and I think that's a really good human being. In general, I think the positivity they put out and the wrestling and then what they do in ring and the fun that they look like they're having, and I think all of that champions what they're about, and so I would definitely think that that's a good person to spotlight.
Nyla Rose is definitely awesome. I love not just her in-ring work, but I love her YouTube channel. Like I've said in the past, she's an avid gamer and collector, and just seems like somebody cool that would be cool to hang out with. Like I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Just seems like a really good human being, just like a person that's positive and wants to help other people and brighten people's days, and then still also does good things in the ring. Also, has always been a fun wrestler to watch in the women's division and everything. So yeah, I think she's a good one to spotlight as far as Pride Month is concerned.
So
I'm trying to find her here it is, her Twitter page. But so if you haven't paid attention to her. She's kind of in a little back-to-back spat with former WWE superstar Val Venus.
Oh, of course.
So, So
I haven't heard that
I
name
don't
in a
know
long time.
if you've seen it.
Oh my God.
But Val Venus has, obviously degraded her. Called her, biological male, all this sort of stuff, and she's actually trying to see if I could find the quote tweet, but she actually replied back to him saying, "Oh, you miss me this bad? You still want to date? Obviously you're trying to date me. I mean, okay, here we go." So he posted poll: Val Venus versus Nyla Rose, hombre contra hombre. So she quote tweeted that and replied, "My guy, it's been like 4 years and you still obsessed with me. Are you just shit at flirting? Is that what's going on with you? You trying to smash but don't know how? Aw, Lil Vivi has a crush on Lil Ol' Me. Hey, Saggy Nuts, just send me an at edible arrangements and a stuffed baby."
I think that was the best, comeback that she could have put right there. That was perfect. Good.
Yeah, Val Venus is a whole. The dude was a character in WWE. It's amazing to me how much of a fucking character he is now, just being himself. Because it's wild.
I haven't even heard the dude's name in a long time, and I don't even pay attention to him. Irrelevant to me.
Got super conservative, and he's just really weird now.
Yeah, so like I talked about prior, me and the wife, we were at AEW's very first show here in Austin, and we were there the night that Nyla Rose won the women's title from Rio. So that was a real big moment for us because we've both been Nyla Rose fans ever since we first saw her on AEW TV, and just her presence, her ferociousness, her style, everything. I mean, the girl's just all around badass, hands down.
Shout out to Nyla. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. She is our Pride Month 2024 Wrestler of the Year. Since she was mentioned twice, shout out to Nyla. Keep it up, girl.
All right. And that's not to take away from
any of the others
who we didn't mention on here.
Y'all are still awesome too.
You're all superstars, and mine, Dropkick Zombies, Class. I'm sure you've got nothing but love for our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. Just hang in there. You always got a safe space with your boy SP, Dropkick Zombie, Class. We're all just nothing but one big wrestling family in here.
Yep.
All right, moving on from wrestling, our last topic, which is not really kind of a wrestling topic, but speaking of Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy, people getting loaded, the good old clowns were on Drinking Champions and Drink Champs, and boy, was Violent J lit. I've noticed this guy, man, he was at Skankfest on shrooms. He was
ketamine as well.
Kill Tony. It looked like he was pretty good in salt. Man, this dude's been getting loaded, man. This was by far
hanging out with Esham and Ouija Mac, man. Apparently he's gotten a little bit more tipsy than what he previously had.
Boy, he's enjoying that pseudo kind of halfway retirement, I'll tell you that much. But a couple of interesting things that he said. He actually addressed ICP actually retiring fully, doing their last tour, doing their shows up. But in a very, how when you get drunk and you have your best friend there, sometimes like Shaggy was there, you have your best friend and you get really drunk. You're like, bro, I love you. You mean more to me. And you kind of tell, I want to do this and this. He said that he wants to finish up the tours, finish up everything, keep doing his regular shows, but his ultimate goal in life after retirement is to retire, move to Indonesia, and open up an orangutan what is that called? Sanctuary. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like that's his main thing. He wants to open an orangutan sanctuary. What do you think about that, Class?
I don't know what to think about that, to be honest. I mean, look, everybody has goals and dreams, and I mean, the man's got money, so I mean, I don't know.
He can do what he wants.
I don't know exactly where he's gonna find all the orangutans at, but I mean, hey, more power to him. You know what I mean?
The only thing I hope is that he doesn't get this drunk around the orangutans, because orangutans are known to rip somebody apart if they mess with them. You know what I'm saying? I hope we don't hear a story one day that the Duke of the Wicked was ripped to shreds by an orangutan.
Yeah.
Or you watch him
such a wild story.
He'll get drunk one night, go into the orangutan cage, and start trying to slap some orangutan titties or something. You know, just
bro. That would be insane. So shout out to Violent J, man. Hey, just watch it, man. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, so
that whole interview was wild.
Yeah.
So apparently, NWA and Billy Corgan have wished Jay a well wishes essentially in your future endeavor for his him wanting to go out and bring more JCW into the world. And Dropkick, weren't you mentioning something about like them wanting to do like a 60-date tour or something like that?
Oh no, he announced 60-something shows throughout 2024 and 2025. So I think that's going to be another big push while they're in retirement or whatnot. We lost Class again, but that's okay. We're on our last topic. While they're on their 60-something shows throughout 2024 and 2025. So there's big plans going forward with JCW, and I'm so glad to see that, because JCW goes hard for a while, then kind of stops. I want to see more of a steady shows. I want to see him put a lot of work, into the wrestling promotion, because it's some of the best stuff. If any of you have not been to a JCW show, if you have one that turns up in your area, go. It's always a blast.
They got to make sure they get the bigger ring though, because the ring that they had at Juggalo Weekend was small as shit
and very short.
I mean, they need to bring out their full size, legit 20 by 20, 18 by 18
professional high spots ring.
Yes, and make sure your ropes are tight, because that was one thing that I noticed at Juggalo Weekend was their ring ropes weren't up to standard par for a wrestling ring.
They need to be springboard ready.
You see Madman Pondo try to climb up to that top rope to go to put somebody through the door, and he had to quickly get off.
He just kind of threw himself out there, flung himself real quick. I remember that. But still, it's a great show. Just need to work on the ring. Get one of them good, solid high spots rings. Come on, Jay. Take some money out of that orangutan fund and buy a legit ring. But, thank you to Class. I know we lost him. Thank you to all the Juggalos. Thank you to all the wrestling fans. Like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully we got more guests coming. Shout out to Class, man. Y'all check out his album that's coming up, and y'all check out everything from the Underground Avengers catalog. Epic stuff.
Yeah, so I just got a Facebook message from Class. He says, just tell people thank you. His phone is overheating and he's got to go get a new one. So make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure nobody overheats out here in this extreme Texas heat weather. Yes, much love to the homie Class for joining us on today's episode of the Ring Rundown. We are round number 5 today here. So before we go, I just want to let everybody know we have gotten t-shirts in. Unfortunately, our first run of t-shirts didn't go over too well. There are a lot of issues, printing issues with these, but we did get in the reorder, and apparently they overnighted them to us. So we do have our brand new Ring Rundown shirts that I am actually rocking right now.
Oh, look at them beautiful man boobies. Oh, beautiful. Oh. Hey, wait, this is YouTube. We have to keep it PG here.
Hey, this was still PG, all right? So yes, we only have like after the people who have invested into us. So I myself will have a shirt. My wife will have a shirt. Dropkick, you and your wife will get one. Your buddy Landon, and then of course my in-laws are getting one as well too. This is just a small run. We just want to try to bring the word of the Ring Rundown podcast out to the world with those damaged shirts that we got. Well, they're not necessarily damaged per se, but they aren't as quality as they should have been in the first place. Those will be given out at random indie shows here in Texas. So any of our subscribers here in Austin, Texas, or surrounding areas, if you see myself, I will be bringing these shirts to shows to hand out. Dropkick, I can send you yours as well that you originally ordered. I could include those when you come down, or I mail them to you, however it works.
I'll swing by your place at the end of this month.
All right, for sure. Yeah, I'll hand you some so that way you can hand out to whoever you see at a little indie wrestling show. Get the word out, and if you dig our product, let us know, and we will make sure to order some more in the future. So that way, if you dig one, that's cool. We're just here to interact with y'all. We're just one big happy wrestling family, wherever you are in the world. And our topic for next week was kind of something that I had asked earlier of our special guest Claas, but what is your favorite wrestling memory? We're talking either you attended a show or you were first introduced to wrestling, whether on TV, internet, depending on how old you are. Obviously, it's going to be one of the two. But yeah, let us know what you think of what was your best wrestling moment, either again at a live show or watching it on TV. Let us know down in the comments below, man. We're trying to build up this interaction with y'all. We want this thing to blow up.
Boom! And without further ado, for SP, I am Dropkick Zombie. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
We two loony guys catching eyes with our hype, talking pro wrestling, making all the fans unite. In the ring we swing like a rhyme making machine with moves so mean, leaving opponents in a dream. You're rocking the